I am merely Bo, the great Kevin Stefanski to my left in Z's seat. Good to see you, buddy.
Is this Z's seat?
That's his seat, yeah.
I'm keeping it warm for him.
Keeping it warm. Well, and he's going to need that a little bit. Good to see you, man.
Great to see you. Yeah, great to be with you guys.
Funny, as I'm walking in today, I see like the cars lined up and guys going to cars. And you've seen Dazed and Confused.
Yep.
It was a little bit like that. Like
it's the engines are running. Yeah, it's getaway day in the NFL.
I imagine you like the football coach in that, like yelling at Randall Pink Floyd about make sure you get your head in your notebook and all of that.
There were a lot of make sures from me this morning. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that.
I think for fans, you think of the NFL season as training camp through the Super Bowl. And then, we have these moments. You got the draft, you got free agency, combine, where the folks are locked into it. But in terms of the work of it, that's it. You guys have been at work here for a while now. Did you get done what you wanted to get done?
We did. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I was very impressed, have been impressed with this group of guys. They're working like crazy, whether it's what we're doing in the weight room with them, what we're doing in the meeting rooms, out on the field. I have not gotten pushback from anybody. I mean, it's a really good group. And listen, every single year, as we all know, these teams are different. 2025 team's totally different than the team before. Of course, there's guys that are a part of both. But, these guys are they understand the work that needs to be put in. And man, it's been impressive to watch.
Every single guy that we've had come through here who's a veteran has, without any sort of differing, talked about the different tone that they've noticed here. How conscious were you about making that? And what is that for the fans? What does that mean when they say that?
Well, I mean, we won 3 games last year, so you better have a different tone is the way I look at it. And, you come off of last year and you reflect and you think about things that we absolutely have to do differently. And ultimately it starts right with me. And there are things that I have to provide this football team, and that can be in schematic ways. That can be in ways we do things, who we ask to do what. It's really all of the above. So I hope it feels different. It better, because we understand what's in front of us.
You're laying building blocks now for next season. Hopefully the foundation has been laid, and then you'll build upon it when you get to training camp. Obviously, much has been made and talked about what you're offensively getting back to, what you're maybe most comfortable in. But at the same time, you're going to take different parts of everything. As you've gone about reinstalling or getting back to that, how much is it different than what we were doing 2 years ago, and what did you borrow? And I know you're somebody who's always evolving.
Yeah, well, if you're not evolving, you're dead in this league, because the defensive coaches, the defensive players are too good to just stay the same and continue to do it one way. I mean, all the great schemes, I don't care, offense or defense, that you evolve every single year. Sometimes you evolve in season, and you can see, and sometimes it's easy to perceive it, sometimes it's not. But there are definitely things that we will do more of. There are definitely things we'll do less of. But to say that we're just going back and dusting off a playbook and saying, hey, let's run this, I just don't think that works in this league. So we're very, very fortunate to have a group of offensive coaches that worked very hard in putting a system together, because ultimately it comes down to putting together a sound system that has breadth to it, so that depending on your players, you can move into different directions. And I think that's the charge that we have, is to maximize our players and our key players in what we're doing. So that's what we've tried to do this offseason. Now, you don't know exactly what that's going to look like come training camp, but you at least want to install a system, teach the guys a system that has the ability to pivot into a bunch of different areas.
How much of a shot in the arm was it to have this many rookies? I've never seen a rookie minicamp like the one you guys had a couple of weeks ago, but we had like 60 guys here.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's how it used to be done in the NFL. You used to have really an open tryout, quote unquote, and you had a lot of guys that were local players. You'd have as many D3, 1AA kids locally that could drive, just so that you could field a full football team. So you'd have your draft picks, your undrafted your undrafted guys, and then a bunch of tryout guys. And I've said this before, but Adam Thielen was a tryout guy for us. We signed him from Mankato State University for the weekend. He impressed, and guess what? He's still doing it. So there are guys that impressed in that weekend for us and are still here. So we really liked that experience of having a full boat of practice. We had 7-on-7 and team, and it just gave us an opportunity to really evaluate more players.
Very unique this camp too, and this OTAs and this mini camp too, with the fact that you have the 4 quarterbacks in there and you're going through those reps and you're running through all of that. When did you guys start thinking about the plan for this? Obviously, I think you knew, and I think AB said this. He said this last night at an event I was at with him last night about how, look, we knew we were going to have a rookie quarterback. Didn't probably think we were necessarily going to have two.
Right.
We knew we were going to have one. And so reps are so critical. This isn't 1978 Bear Bryant 6-hour practices. So, like, you guys got a short amount of time to get a lot done. When did you start kind of architecting out that plan?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think going back to the spring, knowing you're going to have a young quarterback, how do you maximize those reps? And like you said, it's not Bear Bryant. You can't practice. There are limits to the amount of time you can be out there. So tried to get creative, having Tommy Rees on staff coming from college recently, Mike Bloomgren on staff coming from college recently. These college rosters are 100 players plus. So that the two-spot, quote-unquote, the two-spot where you have the same plays being run on simultaneously on different fields, that's nothing new for college. It's harder to pull off in the pros just on the roster limitations, but obviously not impossible. So we just tried to be real smart about how we did that. What you don't want to do is have two practices going on, 100 plays, and asking your guys to run down the field 50 yards each time. Then you're going to have cost, and now there's going to be injuries. And I thought the way it was designed, and I think Tommy and the offensive staff, and certainly Jim and the defensive staff, were really creative about how they got their work done.
Tommy with the two rookies, he just is out of that world a couple of years ago. I have to imagine that was right up his wheelhouse.
It is. I think Tommy played the position in college, has coached it, has a great comfort level in that. You have Coach Musgrave, who played the position in college, played in the pros, has been a coordinator. So you have those two guys in that quarterback room to provide great counsel, and our guys that have done it at a high level. And certainly when you have young players that you're trying to develop and teach, there's just no shortage of knowledge that can come from the room, whether it be from the veterans in the room or the coaches in the room.
The sliding scale that you use at that position, because obviously what you're asking the young guys to do is a little different than what for example, Joe can do.
Right.
So, and yet the reps are the reps, and they're finite. How do you, as you guys go to make this decision by the time you get to camp, how do you create sameness throughout for all four of them, if you know what I'm getting at there,
Sure.
so that you have a true litmus test?
Yeah, I think that's something we talked a lot about prior to putting together the plan. And obviously there's that old saying, you treat everybody fairly but not the same. It's related to that. You know that there's guys that need to get X number of reps. There's guys that don't. I mean, Joe is 40 years old, has seen a lot of football, has played a lot of football. He does not need as many reps as the young guys do. So tried to be smart where we can still give Joe an opportunity to get better, an opportunity to be evaluated, while also maybe shifting a few of those reps to the younger guys, and then mixing it up throughout. We had multiple guys in there at multiple spots, and that's kind of the way we've looked at doing business here the last 3 weeks with 9 practices, where we just want to see a lot of these guys in a bunch of different situations.
Talk about the two young guys quickly here. Dylan, yes, it was yesterday. He's a play-action wizard, man. He's really smooth with the ball. He hides it well. He rolls out well. He throws on the run well. And then we had a chance to talk to him at the golf outing. You see what made you guys fall in love with him the way that you did in the draft. How has it been for him over the last month?
Yeah, I think the play-action piece is a good observation, Bo, where he's got really great ability to ball handle, to put the ball out on a play action when it looks like the run, pulls it back, it's the pass. There's a lot of skill to that. Now, he's been coached really well in college, and I give him credit and his coaches credit for that, but there's a lot of nuance to that play action game, and he's trying to master it, and he's putting in the work. And he's a young player still coming along. He's played a lot of football, and that's true. But this NFL game, there's things that are different, and he's really going to school. At times we call this quarterback school. There's a curriculum to this, and how we bring a young player along. And there's no short way to do it. I wish I could press a button and say, hey, you guys got this. And that's just doesn't exist in this game. It's just a lot of meetings, a lot of practice, and then a lot of film to teach off of. And the beauty of it is our quarterbacks are learning from every rep, even if they're not getting the rep. So if you're in there, great, you got the rep, you got it physically in the moment. You can make those corrections in your brain with that Pentium processor. If you didn't get the rep, you can sit in the meeting room and you can kind of put yourself in the shoes of the other player and get that rep mentally. So we've done a lot of that over the last few weeks.
Just an anecdote for our audience. Dylan joined Nathan and I at the golf outing he just kind of came on set. We were doing the show live, and he just came on, and we didn't really introduce or anything. He just started talking. He was great, very natural. I saw him last night at the event with AB, and he came up, and I didn't even introduce myself to him. There was none of that. And he said, "Good to see you again, Mr. Bishop."
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm a radio guy. You don't need to know who I am.
Yeah.
But the fact that those little things, and I've heard that throughout the building, that those type of things, that's a pattern of behavior for him that's very consistent.
Yeah, I think, everybody talked about it. We talked about it. Certainly when you're at 3 schools, you have to assimilate yourself to those 3 places. You got to get to know everybody, I think a lot of us can think of that first day at school, whether it's in high school or at college, you're meeting new people. You got to get to know your classmates. Well, same idea. You got to get to know your teammates. And he did that really at 3 different stops. And it's very interesting. And I'm sure we've talked about this is, in the old days, if somebody transferred twice, you'd be like, "Oh, what's wrong? What happened?" And now guys are transferring for some pretty good reasons. I can't get mad at them. And that could be if a coach is leaving. It could be for an opportunity. So what that then allows you to do is it allows you to go through that process of getting to know your teammates, getting to know a system, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's great value in that. So that does not surprise me, Mr. Bishop.
Now I feel old. I know I'm older than you, but that's too much. Shedeur, you guys got to know him very well in the process. You've got to know him a lot better here in the last month. Obviously, when you are who he is and everybody knows who you are and has known who you are since you were probably 15, 16, there's something that's to that. But his teammates gravitate to him quite a bit. What have you learned about him over the last month?
I don't know that we've learned anything new because, like you mentioned, I feel like we have a great feel for this young man. He's a very, very hard worker. He has fun when he's in the building. I'm enjoying watching him progress with every single meeting, with every single rep. He's doing a great job. And I think as a young player, I don't care what position you're playing, you're going to run a play or you're going to get something wrong. That's so valuable because then you get to correct it, get it right the next time. And he's doing a really, really nice job. I think he's showing up early. He's staying late. And he continues to get better every single day, and that's the fun part. But just having him in the meeting room brings a great personality in there. It's fun to have. I sit right behind him. Joe is to my left, to Shedeur's left, and to see those two bounce ideas off of each other is hilarious. Joe will say a few things, and I'll be like, Joe, Shedeur wasn't born. He wasn't born then. So it's just he's got great energy, great kid, working his tail off, and he's playing really well too.
I told it to Terrell. There's a great story in yahoo.com for our audience that tells kind of the story about how this quarterback, because it's really a great room. They're very supportive. There was an instance yesterday with Sher and Joe like going over something and Joe kind of mimicking, this is what I do on this. Like those type of things are happening every day here. It's really cool how it's all kind of come together and worked.
Yeah, I've been so lucky in my career to be in some really awesome rooms. And this one's up there just with these guys pushing each other but supporting each other, having the diversity of thought, experience, just all of the above has been great. And listen, this is we all take this job very seriously. Mm-hmm. We want to win. We want to work our tails off, but these guys also want to have fun, and they do have fun in that room, and I think it's a credit to all those personalities. I
know you're not going to give me a straight answer on this, but in your head, I'll happen to try to ask it in a way to see if we can get a little bit of an answer. In your head, do you have like a date where you're like, by then we need to have this kind of locked in terms of pecking order, starter, all that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, we've approached this offseason with a different mindset where we're trying to be very much in evaluation mode and see different guys. I think once you get back to training camp, it evolves as in terms of what your mentality is and what you're trying to accomplish. So there are dates that I kind of have placeholders on where we're going to make some decisions. Certainly get into some of the games. I mean, the fun part is we get 3 games to get live reps with these guys, and that's also something that's hard to replicate in practice. We'll have a practice versus Carolina. We'll have 2 practices versus Philly. Those will be valuable as well. But there's definitely the idea that our mentality will change once we get to a certain point in July and August.
When you talk about those joint practices, has the groundwork been laid in terms, because those reps are so valuable? Did you lay groundwork for that in terms of that position over the last couple of weeks?
We have, and that was something really with Carolina, with Coach Canales, with Philly, with Coach Sirianni. We've had conversations going back months ago, that in terms of the structure of practice. So it'll be great work for both sides. And certainly, again, it goes back to the previous question. We'd love to be out there for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to, but we'll get plenty of good work with those guys over those 2 weeks.
You guys have a big night tonight. This is year 2. Incredible success last night. Night out by the lake, of course. The Keepers Foundation, your foundation that you started. It was a stunning success last year. What will folks? Obviously, it's already locked in terms of folks going there tonight. But there are some online stuff too.
Sure.
What exactly do we have in store for us tonight, Coach?
Well, Bo, I think we're excited. Just year 2. This has been a fun experience for us to have an opportunity to give back to this community. I've told you guys this before. My family and myself have been treated so well by this community. This is such a great Northeast Ohio and this community in general. Just they're constantly looking to give back, and that's something that is near and dear to my heart, to my family's heart. In this organization, the work that Dee and Jimmy do in the community is unbelievable. So there's a great model of how to do that. So this is year 2 for our Keepers Foundation. We have our night out tonight, which is a big event, and Nathan's coming out of paternity leave to join us.
He's on no sleep, from what I've been told. Yep. Give him a shot of adrenaline, Coach.
That's a good idea. But it's going to be a fun night with a bunch of players down there, food, drink, live auction. The silent auction is available to anybody, so you can go on right now, check it out. You can go through Brown's Social, I believe. There's some links out there, keepersfoundation.org as well. There's some really unique silent auction items that we better work fast if you want to get your hands on some of those.
So just an idea. These are all some of the notes I have for silent auction. Step in the huddle, VIP experience. That's a win. I do have one question on the football.
I know where you're going with this.
The fairway. So, yes. Okay, up to 6 people, 18 holes on the Browns golf. We have a simulator here, golf simulator in here. How did Zagura get in on that?
Well, how did Zagura get in? Here's how we got in on that. I played in the charity golf outing, and Nathan was kind enough to join us for a par 4 that he drove the green.
That's right.
And so I said, all right, Nathan, you're definitely part of this opportunity. So that one in particular is a fun one. And just for our fans, when we put in the new performance center, if you will, here in Berea, which is unbelievable. You'll get a tour of that. But they also were smart enough to put in a golf simulator, which I didn't see till the season ended, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay, it was really close to my office. I was never in there. But then the season ended, and I cannot tell you how many players go in there in the offseason. Joel Bitonio came back for whatever year this is for him. I don't know the number, but there's a percentage that it was because of the golf simulator. He was here on Saturdays.
Yeah.
I'd go in there. I'd come in, go for a workout. I'd peek my head in there, and he's in there typically with Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin. And what they do is they're playing on the golf simulator, and they all have their kids, their little kids, up against the TV watching Bluey. And there's goldfish everywhere. And basically it was a way like, hey, honey, I'll take the kids, set the kids up on the TV. They go play 18 at God knows where. So that's the world-famous golf simulator here in Berea. So check it out on online. You and I believe six total people come join Nathan and I to play some golf on the simulator.
You got a chef's table at Fahrenheit as well that you'll be auctioning off
tonight. Chef Rocco will be there tonight.
Which is awesome. Guardians experience, too, with batting practice and VIP tickets. Coach, we kind of led this off talking about school's out for the summer. How critical is it for these guys to unplug and recharge, and then for you too? And I'm guessing you have some plans for that this summer as well.
They're confidential.
Yeah, we'll keep them that way.
Yeah, so I told the team this morning, it's 40 days away, and that's very standard across the league. You kind of get 40 days, and it seems like a long time. It also seems like a short amount of time, but my message to the guys today is just charge that battery up because you're going to need it, and you're going to need it because this season – comes at you fast, and it's 17 games plus. It's 3 games in the preseason. If you earn those 3 or 4 games at the end, I mean, this is a long season. I think it's 201 days long. So you have to charge the battery up, and that's not just physically. It is mentally. So all our guys will kind of get away from it for a minute, but then they'll get back into training and get ready to hit the ground running come July.
Coach, it's great to see you. Good luck at the event tonight, and enjoy your summer, buddy. You deserve it.
Appreciate it, Bo. Thanks.